Rated E10 for ages 10 and up.
You wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws. World of Outlaws Dirt Racing is available now.
I was ready, 10 toes down, trying to fill up stadiums, minimum sold out, mind, body, and soul, got a heart full of gold, they can never hold me down, I keep my name on the low, how wild, my opponent been trying to chase for miles, the distance between looking like the West now, and my stamina adding up from setback, standing up, look crazy, they see me and start pulling out their cameras, tell them grab your pen, I'm giving lessons out, getting bread, you won't worry about impression counts, nah, you got a clue, ain't even a single sense about having potential and trying to pull the legend.
This is the eNASCAR College iRacing Series.
Big dreams for a big profit.
The cars may be virtual, but the racing and scholarships are real.
Big dreams for a big profit. We got big bags, we got big profits. They been mad that we been got it. I turn a big dream into a big profit. I turn a big dream to a big profit. We got big bags, we got big profits. They been mad that we been got it. I turn a big dream into a big profit. I turn a big dream to a big profit.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to iRacing's coverage of the second race of the 2023 eNASCAR College iRacing Series, powered by NACE Starleague, live tonight from the virtual Dover Motor Speedway in Dover, Delaware. James Pike alongside Terry Radford and Taylor Burris. And Terry, Miles the Monster is hungry tonight. Fitting, maybe, I suppose, since it is Fat Tuesday. But I don't think he wants pancakes this evening. He wants race cars. And this is a track that will test any driver. It is physical. It is fast-paced. It is bumpy. It is high speed. It is one of the toughest driver's tests we have in the college series.
Well, this is like a pop quiz for these college students. Who can come out here and get an A? Who's going to walk out of here with an F? Well, we're going to find out as 35 of our closest college friends are going to put this to the test and see who walks out of Miles the Monster alive.
And as always, Taylor Burris, we're racing for scholarship money this evening. The top 10 drivers will walk away with funds to put towards their tuition.
They certainly will. It's going to be absolutely exciting for these drivers here. The second race of this amazing series that will get kicked off here at Dover as we take a look at the schedule.
We were at Iowa Speedway last month. Tonight we're at Dover. March, 1 month exactly from today, we're at Michigan International Speedway, and we close out the spring semester with 60 laps at Daytona International Speedway in April. Very quickly, we turn now to Terry Radford for our track analysis brought to you by Xfinity. Terry, what should the people know about Dover?
Well, obviously, it's located in Dover, Delaware, with the elevation of 29.53 feet. It's 1 length and mile, 4 turns, and it opened in 1969. A
fast-paced beast this is. Taylor Burris, we will turn to you now very quickly for our grid, along with Terry Radford, along with everybody else. Here is the list of where everyone will be starting tonight. Logan Clampett, your pole sitter, trying to go back-to-back after winning at Iowa last month. He starts alongside UNC Charlotte's Garrett Lowe. Daniel Falkingham rolls off from the third spot. Tate Lytle to his outside in fourth. Daniel Buttafuoco and Alex Kalnick out of Rutgers and Rockland Community College complete your top six.
Go back there to Jake Coyne. That's going to start row 4 with Daniel Naney. And you got Tyler Gary with Will Norton, Mario Miranda, John Forms from Ivern Valley, and then you got Colton Salick from Embry-Riddle and Noel Ferg from St. Francis Xavier University.
James Sicoli will be starting in row number 8 with Nicholas Short alongside him. And then, of course, it's going to be Cy Brown, Bowen, and Austin Farr from Liberty University in row 19. Ricky Springer and Andrew Powell rounding out your top 20.
Reese Bayham and Dustin Buck roll off from row 11. It's Anthony Sherobrock from East Stroudsburg University and Hopkinsville Community College's Nate Stewart starting 24th tonight. Terry?
You got Matthew Morton back there from the Ohio State University, Matthew Swack from Michigan, Garrett Vinton from ASU with Jake Cummings from Wingate in row 14. Ole Miss is represented by Michael Causey and South Central Kentucky College for Brandon Pittgrass.
Francisco Villarreal will be starting in row 16 alongside Cody Reed. As we move further on down the list, it's going to be Matthew Burton and Charles Wimbley in row 17. And riding shotgun tonight in the number 90, it is going to be Ryan Wilson from Minnesota State University, Mankato.
35 drivers taking part this evening, trying to divvy up $15,000 in scholarship money very quickly before we get to the green flag. Taylor Burris, let's look at tonight's Logitech G race analysis.
As we take a look at the analysis here tonight, it's going to be really important to notice here that this 100-lap feature race is going to be very critical on the tires here. Drivers are going to have to utilize pit stop strategies. 70 to 75 laps is the fuel window, but with those 4 sets of tires, you're going to want to be coming down pit road as much as possible, but you have to be careful because pit lane delta 45 to 50 seconds, you got to be careful because this pit road entry is one of the most difficult to get onto pit road in the entire NASCAR schedule. So drivers have to make sure they get down pit road very quickly. 55 miles an hour, not a whole lot of time, and it's very easy to go multiple laps down during a pit cycle.
Tires will wear before fuel very quickly. Our SCW weather before we go green flag racing. In sim time, the default day for iRacing, May 15th, 2023, about 4:15 p.m. local time. Air temp 78 degrees Fahrenheit, track temp 102 degrees Fahrenheit, wind set to the north at 2 miles an hour. 56% humidity ready to go just off the eastern shore in the Chesapeake Bay as Logan Clampett leads us underneath the flag stand, and we are green in round number 2, the eNASCAR College iRacing Series for 2023, powered by NACE Starleague.
Really good start right there for the leader of Logan Clampett. You see everybody trying to migrate to the bottom here as they come off the exit of 4 to complete lap 1. Daniel Buttafuoco right there in that Rutgers machine, really trying to hold off Tate Lytle as we look up here to second with Garrett Lowe.
Lowe and Clampett had that great battle at Iowa 1 month ago and were all over each other for most of that race. Clampett was able to take the victory in the end, but you know Garrett Lowe is going to want to get one, not just for the drivers of the College Series, but also, I guess, suppose for the drivers of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Clampett, of course, retired from the Coke Series at the end of last season, and Lowe, I think, wants to hold it down for the professionals, Taylor, and make sure that he knows that the drivers at the top of their game still have something to prove.
They certainly do have a whole lot to prove as we're riding on board with Jack Coyne in that number 52 from the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute up in New Jersey. So this is basically a home track for the junior sophomore or for the junior majoring in mechanical aeronautical engineering dual. As he take a look at his wheel, he's just got it mounted on his desk as he is just trying to dive it into the corners. You want to stay close to that bottom line as best as possible because that's going to save a little bit of the tires as this run progresses. But we're going to be seeing lap times eventually tick off very quickly here as this run progresses.
One of the many ways you can race on the sim, but yellow flag is out trouble early on. One car up on the fence over in turn 2. We'll see if we can't figure out who it was in just a moment, but I did see one machine right near the middle of the exit of turn 2 up into trouble. We'll see if we can get a replay, hearing that Daniel Nanny might be the driver that brought out the first yellow.
Yeah, this track's very difficult. It's very early to eat the tires up here, and these cars are very loose. We talked about that in the opening portion of this. Tire wear is going to be a big factor in what we have here tonight. So it's going to be very key and very crucial to just be patient, kind of ride this out, get yourself in a single file line, and wait for the tires to come in, and then start to make some moves.
I'll be curious to see when drivers decide to come down pit road as we get a look at the replay, and we will see what happens to Daniel Nanny. Come off of turn 4, a lot of side-by-side racing, jockeying for position, and actually there was a second incident here, and that's what brought out the yellow flag. Trouble for Noel Fougere, who ends up in the fence right by the pit wall. Sort of the self-cleaning effect that you see here at Dover, Terry, where there's so much banking on the straightaways here that it's very easy to get swept down into the fence coming off of corner exit, and everything here at Dover eventually sort of filters towards the walls, both on the front stretch and on the back straight as well.
Yeah, I guess we can keep Jimmy Johnson's record safe of being the only one not to hit that inside wall here at the Dover International Speedway. But yeah, it is a self-cleaning track. If you start to get turned, you start to get loose off the exit of 4 or the exit of 2, that wall's there and it comes in a hurry. Very hard to slow the back end of these cars down. The braking's just a little bit different. It's just fun. We take a second look here at this replay.
Speaking from Garrett Vitten's on board as we see how this unfolded in front of him, and contact just a little bit sends Fougere around. Vitten gets into the back of another driver, and everybody else tries to slide. And there was that second incident that we mentioned a little bit up ahead. I think there was contact between Nanny and another driver as they were slowing down to come to the yellow flag and get lined up behind the pace car, which Taylor, I think, speaks to just the lack of space and the amount of pace that you carry through everywhere on this racetrack. Relative to its 1 mile size, this is one of the fastest tracks in the calendar. It very much functions like a bigger Bristol in a lot of ways.
It really does, James, but one of the things about this track, it's a self-cleaning track. Really, you have nowhere to go when something happens, because this track here, when an incident starts happening, as we just saw when we rode on board with Garrett Vitten, the track, everyone just started trying to go to the bottom when they realized more contact and more issues were rising. But for Garrett Vitten right there, who was trying to work his way through, was able to avoid it with not too much damage for the Arizona State University driver, but he still has a little bit of significant damage to the nose of his machine.
Lights are off on the pace car, so we will go back green flag racing next time by. Not too much movement through the field, though. If we're looking for drivers who have made an early charge, how about Anthony Schobrock, who started in 23rd, the East Stroudsburg University driver, up to 15th. Good charge for him. Matthew Morton in the 31 machine, representing the Ohio State University. Make sure that all the Buckeye fans get their favorite article in there. But he is up from 25th to 17th. So towards the back of the field, we've got some drivers that are starting to make charges towards the front as Logan Clampitt gets another good restart and is ahead of both Garrett Lowe and Daniel Falkingham by about 3 car lengths as we come back to the green flag on lap 8 of 100.
He's doing a really good job utilizing the opportunity that the leader has, which is to control the restart, control the pace of this race. Clampitt's no slouch here on the sim world and the iRacing platform. One of the best that's going to do it around here. As you see that outside starting to come in up there with Daniel Botafuco sliding right in there behind Garrett Lowe. That'll be a good battle shaping up for third.
It is starting to rubber up just a little bit, but that's only because drivers are sort of forced up there at this point. And two, I think, Taylor, it was the point that you made earlier, that no one really wants to be up in that second lane if they can help it, because the speed here at Dover is absolutely down towards the inside. No progressive banking here, so nothing you can lean on in that higher lane like we had at Iowa, for example. So everybody wants to try and get down to the bottom as fast as they can and stay there in the corners.
You certainly do. That bottom is a safe place for you. It's very difficult to try and set up a pass. We're going to see a lot of drivers utilizing the chrome horn in order to make passes on the inside. As the run progresses, we may see a couple of brave souls try to work to the top side and making some runs going. But right now, that bottom lane this early on is going to be the key as we see this first set of runs for these drivers, as we're keeping an eye on the battle for third between Garrett Lowe and Daniel Buttafuoco.
Buttafuoco has the 4th position just behind Garrett Lowe. That's Tate Lytle, who rides in 5th. And then 6th, just towards the edge of the picture, creeping in on your right-hand side, Alex Kalanick in the 22, that green and white machine, all part of this pack. Everybody trying to chase down Clampett, though, who was about half a tenth faster than everyone else last time by, Terry.
Yeah, he's just been chilling as we go look at, there's Michael Causey. Ole Miss down there in Jackson, Mississippi. I say hotty toddy out there to them. Look at the VR headset going on there. A little action on the wheel. But the way he's driving, 10 and 2, kind of just sitting there holding it. Now he's swapped to the 9 and 3. It's I need to take some tips from old Michael Causey.
That is a textbook 9 and 3, I will say. Is yeah, really cool to see just the different ways in which drivers can compete. We saw Jack Coyne with the standard wheel mounted to the desk, Michael Causey with the wheel stand, but he's racing with a VR headset, which is yet another way you can compete in iRacing. There are many different permutations and combinations that you can put together, Taylor, with regards to screens, wheels, pedals, stands, whatever, and you can make it work.
It's all about plug and play and how you would do it. I mean, you have drivers who use the VR, as we see with Michael Causey, who has really helped out with certain aspects. You see drivers with a single screen, you see drivers with 3 or 4 screens, and then, of course, like we saw with, of course, Jack Coyne, he had, of course, just a desk chair sitting in it, and then we see Michael Causey with a little bit of a sim rig to a degree, and then there's people who have full-on motion rigs. So it's the amazing opportunities you can utilize to plug and play different aspects of sim racing to be as fully immersive as you want. And Michael Causey really showing the skills here as he works his way up the field. Has a lot of work to do after starting towards the back half of the field, but for the Ole Miss, he's going to give it all he can here as we are approaching lap 17 up on the board.
The bad news is that he's not cracked the top 20. The good news is that he's already gained 8 spots from his starting spot at 29th on the grid. Speaking of 29, here's Brandon Pipgrass, and a good battle for 22nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Nate Stewart is just ahead of him. Behind him, you have Francisco Villarreal and Cody Reed, the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley driver. Just about got help. I couldn't tell if he got a little bump or got loose on his own on the exit of turn 4, Terry, but you noted it was tight for the driver from Weslaco, Texas.
And you mean to tell me we're going to come to a short track? Driver's going to use the chrome horn, use every piece of advantage to their advantage. If you can move the air, you move the air. If you get up on the back bumper, kind of wiggle them out of the way, make them move off the next of that corner, get them close to the wall, make them check up. You got to do it. You see Francisco right here down there in Texas in that 24 machine. Got the focus, got the glove zone, sitting there. He's holding that wheel all the way up at the top. A lot of different driving going on around here.
Got a few Halloween vibes with the black and orange on Francisco's car, right, Taylor? Or am I just making things up and seeing things?
I mean, that's part of the colors for him, of course, for Francisco, representing, of course, the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, of course, the Weslaco, Texas native, of course, majoring in mechanical engineering, so good opportunity to open his way up into many different forms, especially in the motorsports community. So we'll see what he is able to do. He had not a great run at Iowa last week, looking to try and capitalize and redeem himself here at the Monster Mile.
Also worth noting, and you may see it just a little bit further back in the picture, the car with the sort of medium blue stripes amongst the navy blue. I can't think of a better way to describe it, but saw Jake Cummings just clip the wall on exit of turn 4 a few laps ago, and that speaks to the difficulty of corner exit here at Dover, Terry Radford. It is a very, very narrow and tight corner exit. The outside wall comes up and sneaks up on you very quickly, and it is a very tight radius that you have to navigate, and so it is not a surprise to me to see anybody clip the fence here, because it's harder to get off of the corners at Dover than just about anywhere else we race in the whole of eNASCAR.
You'd reckon we as in Nashville with the way they're two-stepping off the corners, back in, starting to slap it, starting to spin around a little bit. There's a lot of drivers having a bit of issues here. As you see Jake Cummings right here, back there in that 95. Look at that rig set up there. Dingle going up to the front, and that's right there's how you drive it, James Pike. I think that's set up for the future.
Another desk-mounted PC with a large single screen, so he's got one really good window to see where everything is on the track. The driver out of Pofftown, North Carolina. Yes, that is how it is pronounced for those who are unaware. There are a lot of F's there. It can trip you up, but Pofftown is the way. And Wingate, not terribly too far away. You go south, maybe about 45 minutes to an hour in the state of North Carolina, and that's where you'll find their campus and where you'll find Jake Cummings, who in this race currently is trying to work his way out of 29th. A reminder that we are giving away $15,000 worth of scholarship money this evening. $3,500 to the winner, all the way down to $250 for the driver that finishes in 10th. A little bit of contact there between Cody Reed and Charles Wimbley just ahead of Cummings that you see on your screen. And we will do that again at Michigan, and we will do that again at Daytona. And by the end of the semester, we will have given away $60,000 in scholarship money in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series spring semester for 2023. Pretty cool.
Really is a great opportunity for a lot of kids here and for a lot of college students to try and work their way through. Because let's be honest, college can get expensive. And of course, with this opportunity with the NACE Starleague, along with iRacing and eNASCAR, it helps really these college kids to further their scholarships, be able to further their education to maybe, who knows, one day some of these people, these students can have a chance to compete or work in the business of NASCAR in the near future.
Oh, by the way, if you were curious about Logan Clampett, you haven't missed much at the front. He is gone to the tune of about a second over Daniel Falkingham. That gap hasn't really changed all that much, so our eyes continue to be planted on Jake Cummings' machine. He's trying to fight Charles Wimbley. Garrett Vitton is about maybe, call it 10 car lengths up the racetrack. The Arizona State driver you see just at the bottom of your screen, but really good battle there. And then we slide further up the field. This is the battle for 6. You've got Tyler Gary, driver in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, Tate Lytle, Jack Coyne, who we rode on board with earlier, and Mario Miranda, the Oklahoma Sooner, all fighting for positions in the top 10.
Yeah, I was going to say the other word. I was going to say Boomer Sooner, but that kind of hurts my soul a little bit to say it. You see these two wide action going on right here. This is a big battle. But looking right here at the Palm Beach State College resident of Tyler Gary, worked his way into the eNASCAR College, or eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. What a great drive so far from him. Sitting up here in the 6th place position, kind of staying out of that mayhem that's sitting behind him, the two wide going on back there with Miranda Lytle and Sully. Too much going on back there behind him to even worry about it in the mirror.
Jack Coyne once again out of Warren, New Jersey, the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute driver that we showed you earlier on in tonight's race, trying to chase down Tyler Gary. Their lap times have been pretty similar over the course of the lap. It's 10 laps or so. They've been trading tenths back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Last time Gary was 3/10 slower than Coyne, and then you get this mess back here just behind Miranda. James Scioli out of Eastern Washington University, Spokane native, trying to hold off Tate Lytle, who slid back a little bit. Will Norton out of the University of Kansas in Lawrence, and then you've got Nick Shorts, who's also in the mix from Folsom Lake College. He currently rides in the 12th position right towards the end of this group.
Yeah, a lot of drivers trying to jockey for position, and there you see one of those drivers in the Toyota stuck up out there on the outside as we ride on board with the Kansas native, Will Norton, as he's just trying to focus in. Has a really good line holding on to that inside lane, but you start to see them move up about half a groove in the middle on the apex of that corner here. You got to be careful, because if you give up a little bit of room, that's going to open up the door for some of these drivers to try to sneak their way in through. So make sure he tries to hug that line as best that he can. Tries to apex it a little bit off corner exit. You almost see him taking 2 different apex. You can see him entry, wash up the track just a little bit in the middle of the corner, and then they dive it back down to get on the corner exit as we watch on board here with Will Norton, as everyone's now just in a little bit of the train, trying to see where their tires are at this state, because right now, times are absolutely falling off compared to when we started this race. Over a second, just about.
Jumping now to the driver in 13th. This is Colton Salick out of Tampa, Florida, and Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, winner at Daytona last year in this series. And a reminder that if you want all the latest news and updates from eNASCAR, that you can take out your mobile device and take a picture of the QR code on the bottom right portion of your screen to sign up for all the eNASCAR information, courtesy of iRacing, the official simulation partner of NASCAR. Salek currently in the 12th position. He is trying to take away a spot from Tate Lytle, who continues to slide down the leaderboard and get into the fight with Norton and Short and Scioli and company. And then, yeah, there's maybe about 6 or 7 car lengths, and there's a crash. Nate Stewart is involved, and Michael Causey is in there, and Jake Cummings flipped and then landed back on his wheels. Do we count that as a proper barrel roll, Terry?
I mean, I'd say so. It looked like something at a rodeo just happened, but we saw it a little earlier here with Nate Stewart as we take an onboard look with him there. He's been very loose. I mean, that car has just been ill. Miles the Monster is tearing some stuff up early.
Indeed. We said Miles was hungry, and it is Fat Tuesday, so I would imagine his appetite's pretty big, Taylor, and that was wild. But again, that's all, I think, in part attributed to the banking. 9 degrees of banking here on the straightaways, which, as far as straights go, it's one of the highest numbers we see in all of eNASCAR, and it can create some wild incidents that you wouldn't necessarily expect.
Yeah, it really does, and we just saw it right there with this current caution period where we saw cars just driving down to the bottom because of how steep the banking is. And even if you hold on to the brakes here as we watch everyone come down pit road, we'll take a look at the replay as we'll see the contact between possibly Nate Stewart. Oh, right there. You see the 15 of Causey make that in contact, and then into the barriers they will go. And then unfortunately the 95 had nowhere to go as he tried to avoid it. Surprised he didn't try to just go up a little bit higher to avoid it, but unfortunately did a barrel roll, landed it though, and will have to come down and fix the damage along with Nate Stewart.
He will indeed. Stewart is there with a lot of damage on the front of his Chevrolet Camaro, the Hopkinsville, Kentucky driver out of Hopkinsville Community College, also racing for Rise Esports, not only here in the College Series, but also in the eNASCAR qualifying iRacing Series, pairing with Jimmy Mullis and Zach Novak, who represent Rise in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. But a lot of damage to his machine, and he will need to come down pit road to get it fixed up, and is going to need a lot of help in order to finish inside the top 10 and get some scholarship money tonight.
He's going to need a lot of people to have the same issue that he's been having. He was fighting loose off the exit for quite some time. I think he was hoping for a caution. He was just hoping not to be the caution. And I know Miles is hungry. But to be honest, I mean, we're looking at the 4 here. We should probably go down to Wendy's and get him a 4 for 4. I hear they got some really good burgers going on down there. Their nuggets are phenomenal. And a Frosty to cure it. I'm telling you, ain't no better than a Wendy's burger.
Was a big fan of the hat that Noah Gragson wore at the Daytona 500 pre-race earlier this week. That was a tremendous amount of fun. As Logan Clampett is still in control of things here, he is led from the drop of the green flag as the field will begin to reset, double file behind him, and we will get set for the restart, which will come on lap 40 of 100. Everybody can make it now to the end on fuel if you pitted, and you should be good for the most part, even if we get some form of green-white checker. Meanwhile, if you want more information on the schedule, standings, and how to become a driver in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series, as well as information from all of the eNASCAR Series, you can log on to enascar.com/college today. Clampett and Lowe, your front 2 cars in this gigantic double file train. Will Clampett get the same sort of launch that he did last time to open up a gap right off the top of the restart? Answer to that question for the 3rd time is yes. He is clear by about a second or 2. Low in the mix, and then Will Norton, who took 2 tires, is up into 4th and trying to hang on to the spot underneath Daniel Falkingham.
Really is trying to hold on indeed here. Take a look at the conditions right now. Cloud cover completely covering up the track as well. That's going to cause a little bit of situations for how the grip level will be on the track. Cooler temperatures will be able to have some grip, but of course this concrete monster definitely still going to be difficult and treacherous to overcome as they work their way out of turn 2.
Will Norton just trying to hang on. I suppose I can even you out there, Terry Ranford, and if you'll drop the Boomer sooner, I can drop the Rock Chalk Jayhawk, and that'll cover all of our Big 12 representation amongst the drivers here in the top split of tonight's eNASCAR College iRacing Series. As you get a good look at Garrett Lowe and Falkingham, and look at Daniel Botafuco just on the edge of your screen there, and out underneath Will Norton, trying to take away the 4th position.
Yeah, Botafuco was one of the fastest in practice. I was kind of surprised to see. I don't know if Clampett, Lowe, and Falkingham really showed their cards. They maybe pulled a little bit of Kenny Rogers out and knew when to hold him and knew when to fold him. They didn't want to put it out there on the table at the Monster Mile. And it just kind of throws it off. But Will Norton taking 2 tires there. A gutsy call, but one that could potentially pay off. We could see an early caution. Cautions breed cautions at a short track. And if he catches one, he'd be the smartest person on this track right now because he'll come down and take 4 tires and should be the fastest one with 5 laps on everybody else's tires.
It is a strategy play indeed, and he would love a yellow flag as we are going to go back on board here with Jack Coyne. Here's tonight's Coca-Cola on board. We will take a few moments here and listen to Jack as he tries to hustle around Alex Kolnick and gain a few more spots at Monster Mile. Good look here at John Forbes, new name into the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NACE Starleague out of Irvine Valley College in Irvine, California. As he yellow flag actually out on the racetrack. I saw 2 cars just out of the corner of my eye get in trouble. And we will find out more about what brought out the yellow flag after we take this quick commercial break. So don't go anywhere. Coverage of the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NACE Starleague is back in just a few moments with the virtual Dover Motor Speedway.
When I hit the wall, this thing shook like crazy. I have experienced that in real life, so I can compare.
I tend to choose rally games that are really putting the actuators through their paces, and they've been holding up really well.
That's exactly how it is in real life. That's the coolest part.
Rated E10 for ages 10 and up.
You wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws! World of Outlaws Dirt Racing is available now.
Tonight's broadcast of the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NACE Starleague is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official brand refreshment of eNASCAR. By Logitech G. Through design, engineering, and the love of driving games, Logitech G takes racing simulation to another level. Logitech G, the official wheel and pedals of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. By SCW. Whether you're looking to outfit the office or race lace the pros, SCW is where America gets IT. Shop now at scw.com. By PlaySeats, the official racing chair of eNASCAR. By Xfinity. Get the reliable connection you need to keep up with the race from start to finish. Unbeatable internet made to do anything so you can do anything. Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR. And by D-Box. Make body and racing simulator become one. Improve your virtual race time with D-Box motion technology, providing ultra-precise movements and vibrations cues while racing online. D-Box, feel it all. Welcome back to iRacing's coverage of the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NACE Starleague from the virtual Dover Motor Speedway. James Pike alongside Terry Radford and Taylor Burris bringing you all the action here for the Monster Mile as Logan Climpett has led since the drop of the green flag, and we are waiting from a challenger. But we are under the yellow flag, and we'll get the opportunity to take a look at this replay, which will show you the incident that took place between Anthony Strobach and Andrew Powell. Terry?
You can see right there, the 11's going to wash up just a little bit. 23 is going to get off the exit corner and bam, right off the 4 down the front straightaway. They make contact into the wall. They go spinning around. Luckily, nobody else was collected there. Just a two-car incident.
And Taylor, that goes back to the point that we've made a few times in this broadcast already, just how tough it is to exit these corners, how narrow corner exit is here, how everything is self-cleaning at Dover because you have banking, and if you mess it up just a little bit, and it wasn't all that much that Powell and Strobach got into each other, but once they started going downhill towards the inside wall, there was no stopping them and heavy contact for both those drivers.
It really was, and that's going to just cause the chaos that we're going to see here at the Monster Mile, because that's how this track works. As the pace car pulls off, we're back at it.
Just clear of halfway as well. We just passed the halfway mark a few laps ago. We are now into the second half of tonight's race at Dover Motor Speedway. Clampett clear by about a car length or two, but Daniel Falkingham, the Mainer, up to second for the first time around Garrett Lowe, exiting turn 2.
He's been really good on restarts. Daniel Falkingham has a car that is capable to go up here and challenge Logan Clampett for this win. It's going to be a battle of the top 3 elitists in this series, in my opinion. And I might have to add the 4th in there, too, because Daniel Buttafuoco, he's making his way in that 13 Rutgers machine into the party. He wants to play with the big boys here at Dover International Speedway, but they got a lot of hard chargers behind them that are ready to come up here and mix it up, too.
Let's look at the top 5, Taylor Burris, and look at what kind of drivers are in there. Clampett is a retired Coke Series driver. Falkingham, Lowe, and Gary are currently in the Coke Series. Ooh, big wreck there at the top of the screen. Yellow flag out once again, and a heavy hit there in the middle of the pack for a lot of drivers, about 4 or 5 cars. I saw one car go way, way up, and we'll see whether or not we can't get a replay in just a few moments, but there was big damage there right after the start-finish line.
It certainly was. I feel like you said, one car flipping end over end by the looks of it here as we see the 54 machine working his way through Daniel Falkingham as he will try and catch up to the pace car as we'll get a look at the replay here momentarily. But like you pointed out before that caution, you had at least one former eNASCAR competitor, 3 who are currently competing in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, and then of course Daniel Buttafuoco, who was a former series champion of the eNASCAR College Series, all competing in the top 5. It just showcases the amazing talent we have here.
And Daniel Buttafuoco competed in the eNASCAR Road to Pro ladder a year ago and was the first driver that just missed the cutoff for the Coke Series in 2022. So not quite Coke Series calendar, but for being not in the Coke Series, Buttafuoco is as good as it gets. For more information on how to start your iRacing career and to potentially join the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NACE Starleague, you can log on to iRacing.com today for more information. talent and experience pacing the field here at Dover. Yellow flag out for a large incident on the front stretch. We have a few cars that are torn up and a few drivers that I think are going to call it an evening with a significant amount of damage. Lots of drivers that are already with bent, broken, twisted sheet metal. And now, Terry Radford, this is the replay. We'll figure out what happened.
Oh, exit of 4, doing its damage again. Just off the exit, it's self-cleaning, but you start to juke and drive over here, and the track got blocked. I mean, that was like it was like 95 in rush hour. Nobody wanted to move. Nobody was out of your way. All lanes were taken, and people go bonsaiing in there. It's hard to slow these things down, especially on 18-lap-old tires. Let's not forget that these things get very slidey, and it ain't fun when it's sliding.
Yeah, I noticed just looking at it that Daniel Nanny caught the apron on the exit of 4 and then had to wash up the racetrack to catch his car. And when he did that, he ran right into the side of John Forbes, who had nowhere to go but into the fence. And then he got into Ricky Springer, who then got into Brandon Pipgrass, and it was all on from there. And at the end of it, there were about 4 or 5 cars that have significant damage. And if they aren't out of the race, they are likely out of contention for the top 10 spots and the scholarship money that goes with it. A reminder that it's $15,000 in scholarship money that we give away this evening. $3,500 to the winner. All positions in the top 10 will pay out some form of scholarship money all the way down to 10th, where we will give away $250 in tuition money to our 10th place finisher. But they have all been chasing Logan Clampett, and now that Daniel Falkingham is in second, Taylor Burris, the biggest question I now have is whether or not Falkingham has been saving something. We haven't seen anyone really go after Clampett and run him down, but have we also seen the drivers in the top 5 really push 100% up to this point in the race?
Well, one thing to keep in mind is Daniel Falkingham has been really one of the steady, consistent drivers working his way through the field. But the problem is he's going against Logan Clampett, who has been absolutely dominating here on these restarts. Lap after lap. There we see the great Logan Clampett, all comfortable, ready to go. The California native. And there he goes, right there. He already checks out on the field as they enter out of turn number 4. And that's what helps him be able to maintain the race lead here and pull such a gap over the field. And then he starts taking care of his equipment as we see one car up in the wall. It looks like to be Mario Miranda.
Yellow flag is out for Mario Miranda before we even get going. And I think that was a little bit of a frustrated gesture from Clampett there. I think he'd like to go green flag racing just as we all would too, but a yellow flag for an incident over in the middle of turns 1 and 2 as we now cross the start-finish line to complete lap 58 of 100 in tonight's eNASCAR College iRacing Series, powered by NACE Starleague event from the virtual Dover Motor Speedway.
I just wish I could dress like what Logan Clampett had with the white beater on. As we're going to take a look here at this replay here, and we'll see all what happened into turn 1 and 2. As 3 wide does not work here at Dover. We saw that there as the 7 washes up into Mario Miranda. He loses it, and the season come crashing down like 2020.
That's a tough break there for Mario Miranda and James Scioli, both of whom had been right on the edge of the top 10, certainly in contention for at least $250 of scholarship money. Miranda now with a very, very tough road back to try and get into the top 10 and potentially walk away with some cash towards his tuition this evening. But we still have 40 laps to go. We've seen a lot of yellow flags, and if there's a driver that is loving this, and we mentioned this before when we started getting into this rash of yellows, but Taylor Burris, were you not the one that pointed out that if Will Norton got a few yellow flags here, that it would play out in his favor? And what have we picked up? A few yellow flags, and where is Will Norton? 7th.
He worked his way through, but I do got to bring out 1 point for Mario Miranda. Unfortunately, I mean, he's majoring in meteorology. I don't think he could predict that situation for him that happened in this event.
I don't think there's not an AMS certification for avoiding incidents, is there? We'll see if we can figure out how to make that one happen. But for now, let's turn our attention to the driver out of Hopkinsville Community College out of Kentucky. Nate Stewart now joins us on the broadcast. And Nate, what happened to put you out of the race tonight?
Kazi just hit the wall, And, you know, it was just one of those unfortunate Dover things. Really steep banking, it's really hard to overcome hitting the walls. I mean, basically, as soon as you hit the wall here, you're going straight down. And unfortunately, he just hit the wall right in front of me. And, you know, I was a faster car. He wasn't letting me go, which I understand. You can't really do in these extremely short races. But, yeah, just hit the wall. I got my right front grabbed and then ended up pointing towards the inside wall. And motor blew up. So that was that, unfortunately.
You talk about it being a Dover thing. What makes Dover so tough in those sorts of situations, especially compared to other eNASCAR tracks?
Dover's just really tough because it's such a tight track and, you know, self-cleaning track. That's what everyone proclaims. And, you know, in the famous words of Colin Bowden, if you're back with the squirrels, you're going to get your nuts busted. And, you know, that's just what happened because I don't know how to qualify. I just want to say thanks to Rise Esports, Sunoco, and all my partners for supporting me. And fortunately, we couldn't bring it tonight, but we'll be back next month for Michigan, that's for sure.
Nate Stewart's been a regular in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series. I would expect we will probably see him at Michigan. I have a hunch he'll be in the mix to be one of the top 40 time attackers as we get set to go back green flag racing, Clampett and Buckingham on the front row. And a reminder, yes, you too, if you are eligible, can participate in the time attack for the next event in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NACE Starleague, which will take place at Michigan International Speedway on March 21st as we go back to green now within 40 laps to go as Clampett gets away by maybe 2 or 3 car lengths, and it is once again on the shoulders of Falkingham and Lowe and company to chase him down for the race lead.
I just love that restart that Logan Clampett's doing. He's using all of the experience that he has from the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series and applying it here in these Xfinity cars. It just taking off right at the jump, like right when they tell him he could go, no wheel spin. It allows him to get that leverage on the entire field. He's already out to a 4/10 of a second lead, as you see, side by side all the way through the field. This race is shaping up to be a phenomenal one with 38 laps to go.
The tricky thing about Dover, especially because you've got so much banking here, is that it's also very easy to spin your tires on the restart when you are trying to accelerate with a significant amount of force. Now, that's generally true of green flag racing to a point as well, because you do use a lot of throttle to get off the corner, and it does make a difference, more so than it would at a lot of other tracks in eNASCAR. But when you're going from 50 to, say, 150 by the time you hit the end of the front straightaway, you end up in trouble as there is a crash right there by the start-finish line. Once again, a yellow flag is out. 36 laps to go. Alex Kolinix, I believe, the driver involved. And you see the Rockland Community College machine, the Ford Mustang there, pretty well bent up on the right rear tail of Burris.
Certainly is. Kolinix having a really good run, running inside the top 10 a majority of the race here, as he is now going to have some significant damage as he works his way back up through the field for the Rockland Community College, as he tries to work his way through the sophomore course, majoring in liberal arts for the moment here, and this is going to be not the time for him as he tries to get himself set up to catch up to the field, but definitely not the night he was hoping for.
More damage to that right front, too, than I initially suspected. Let's take a look at the replay, Terry Radford, and see just what happened to Alex Kolinix down the front stretch.
You can kind of see this setting up as when we went on the restart, we actually had the 62. He just washed up off the exit of the corner. Turn 4's been the trouble spot. That's been the one where you come off the exit of the corner, you start washing up quite a bit. You start to push a little tight right there and have the issue to bobble in. But that was setting up from like 3 or 4 laps before then. It's drivers coming down pit road, some mixed strategy here. Clampett's in. Oh, wow. Daniel Falkingham just faked out the entire field like a juke from Lamar Jackson.
This race just got so much more interesting, Taylor Burris, because we have 2 distinct strategies now. Very distinct strategies. And for what it's worth, also, maybe we should go ask Will Norton for lottery tickets and numbers to place bets on and all the things of that nature, because his gamble just paid off. He was able to maintain the track position on 2 tires, and now he gets to pit on cycle with everyone else. So Norton now is going to be about the 7th or 8th car in line with 4 tires when they come back out on the racetrack. But that's big for the Kansas University driver.
It really is, but also one thing to throw in the minds of drivers such as Daniel Falkingham, Garrett Lowe, they were realizing they could not beat Logan Clampett at one point or another. They couldn't beat him on the restarts, they couldn't catch him during the runs, so they had to pull the absolute opposite game plan to come out and be able to try and see if they can beat him heads up in this scenario. So we'll see how this plays out for these two drivers.
Replay here to show you what happened to Kalanick again. And yeah, how many times have we talked about drivers washing up out of turn 4? You just said it again, Terry Radford, but that's about the third or fourth time by my count that I've seen someone lose it on the inside of the corner, slide up towards the wall, and knock into somebody in the process and send them into the fence.
That's going to happen for the rest of the night. I mean, I don't know. You just put the fastest car back there in 11th. You got a really fast car sitting back here in 12th, but I think the person we could be highlighting right here that might be one of the smartest people is that 31 sitting in 7th. Matthew Morton, pitted 9 laps ago, has the freshest tires inside the top 10, minus the 7 of James. Back there in 9th, this race might not be won by who we think it might be won by. If they can hold that 44 and 13 back here on this restart, kind of bottleneck him up, hold him back for about 10 or 15 laps, I think we'll be all right.
It's an interesting point you make there because so far as I can tell, I think Morton and Scioli both took 4 tires. You got Garrett Vitton on 31 lap-old tires. They're just ahead of them, Francisco Villarreal, as we are now going to hop onto another Xfinity on board. This, further back in the field, is Charles Wembley that we are riding with. Wembley out of Guilford College. Going to bring us back to green flag racing at Dover. Tyler Gary giving Garrett Lowe everything he can handle and then some. Meanwhile, Logan Clampett beginning to pick off cars towards the back. That's the car we'll have to watch now. When we were in Iowa last month, it was Clampett v. Lowe at the front. Now, this is going to be all about Clampett's charge from outside the top 10 to the top spot and whether or not he can make it back to Falkingham within the next 30 laps.
You're also going to think about how much damage he's going to do to his tires to get through the field. Just take a look at an onboard shot of Daniel Falkingham, the race leader at the moment based off of the strategy that he ran, faking the field out, allowing Clampett to come in and coming back on the racetrack. This is, look at all the stuff in his background. I don't know if he has more NASCAR memorabilia or I do back here behind me, but I would love to trade with old Daniel Falkingham.
Go a little bit further back. Oh, trouble there. That's Garrett Vitton who gets spun around on the inside wall of the back straightaway. The yellow flag comes out. Most importantly, though, where does Logan Clampett fall between he and Matthew Morton and James Scioli? Those two cars in particular, because they did come down for pit road service before everybody else did under the next to most recent yellow, I think to the point that you made, Terry, are going to be the ones that may go the longest way towards determining whether or not Logan Clampett can compete his charge, because they do have fresher rubber than everybody else, save for all the drivers behind them. But they've got fresher rubber than Falkingham, Lowe, Gary, Coyne, Nanny, and Villarreal, all of whom represent the top 6 drivers and have the best track position at this point.
Well, they were sort of holding him up there. It was a big issue between the 31 and the 7. They weren't allowing the 44 just to walk all over him. They went like, hey, I'm going to move up the racetrack and let you go. This is going to be a fun thing as we take a look at this replay going on here.
See what happened to Garrett.
Oh.
Got a little bit of help there.
Just tagged him.
Yeah, Colton Salick just tagged him, got into him, and then he got a little bit more help there, and there was just nothing that he could do. Tate Lytle was the one who finished off it and then sent the Arizona State Sun Devil into the fence on the backstretch.
Burris, didn't you say they was going to use the chrome horns here? Because they're using them now.
Oh, yeah, it's go time. We're under 30 laps to go. Not a whole lot of time left. So, yeah, the Chrome Hornet is coming into play big time here at the Monster Mile. So, some of these drivers are helping Miles, spoon-feeding him to you a little bit here tonight with some of the action we've seen.
So, to your point, Terry Radford, I think if we're putting on our, I don't know, tinfoil hats or magic hats or whatever, if we're trying to theorize this, and to what you just said, if you are Falkingham, Lowe, anybody, as we get another good look on board here, I believe we're going to see this from Cody Reed's perspective and see how the incident panned out between Vic and Salick. But if you are Falkingham, Lowe, Gary, any of the drivers up front, the one thing you really want to see is a huge battle between Morton and Scioli and Clamp. And you want to see Morton and Scioli in particular go side by side, just like they were right as the yellow flag came out, because if they're battling door to door, then that boxes Logan Clampett in, and he effectively has nowhere to go to get around them, and you then lose the advantage of the fresh tires because you burn them up at least a little bit sitting behind those two. You can't go anywhere. So I think if you're any one of the top 5, you want that blockade per se. So take a look at some of the scholarship money we'll be giving away to drivers in tonight's eNASCAR College iRacing Series event powered by NACE Starleague on the bottom right-hand portion of your screen. But as Ty was saying, you want that side-by-side battle. You don't want the single-file restart, really, because it makes it easier for Clampett to get either high or low of Morton and Scioli and complete the pass on them to go make the charge on the drivers with old rubber.
Make the 44 go high. I think that's what a lot of these drivers in the top 4 are telling that 31 and the 7. Make him work harder for it. Don't let him get around you too easy. As that pace car's off, boys. 24 laps to go. Miles the Monster. It's time to rock and roll.
Falkingham back on the gas pedal, and he takes off low. Gary, Coyne, Morton, Scioli. There is Logan Clampett just there on your screen already underneath Scioli. That's the last thing these leaders want to see. And Matthew Morton will be next in line as you get a good look off the rear deck lid of Daniel Falkingham's Toyota Supra. Everybody else in this top 4 will be begging Matthew Morton to try and hold Logan Clampett at bay, but I don't think he's going to have much luck. Here goes Clampett underneath Matthew Morton to take away the position and become the first car in this field on fresh tires, and he may bring Daniel Botafuca with him.
And this is where it's going to get exciting here. Logan Clampett has a lot of time left to hunt down these 4 competitors. And look how much time he's gained to the center of the corner right there on this 52 machine of Coyne as they work their way down across the front straightaway here. He gets a lot of time, and looking at the times between him and the rest of the field, really showcasing the talent that these drivers have. In fact, he was over about 10 to 2/10 faster than the rest of the field ahead of him.
That was beautifully executed by Logan Clampett. He changed the way he drove in the corner. He diamonded the corner a little bit. He went shallow on entry, drifted up the track in the middle, and that allowed him to get a lower exit coming out of turn 2, which allowed him to put the bumper by Jack Coyne off the end of the backstretch going into turn 3 so that he could beat at his inside and make things happen immediately, as there's a big bump there from Matthew Morton to James Scioli just a little bit further back. It nearly brought out a yellow flag, but Clampett using track awareness, track position, and racecraft to set that pass up, and he'll see if he can do the same on Tyler Gary now to take the 3rd position.
Yeah, don't tear your car up to make a pass. Let the track come to you, let everything go. You see the exit here down the back straightaway is going to get set up to the bottom. That's going to be P3. Now, he's had 3 passes in 4 laps, so this is setting up to be potentially, unless another caution comes out, Logan Clampett is going to get up there and he's going to get to the back bumper of that 54. But how aggressive does Daniel Falkingham get? Does he block really hard in the corners? Does he really slow him up? Because Garrett Lowe, he's like, hey, listen, brother, just, you got this. Look at that. Trophies in the background, a white beater on. They're comfortable.
All focus and determination on Logan Clampett's face, though, as we now are within 20 laps to go, and he is one position away from the race lead, and he set up the pass on Tyler Gary the same way he did on Jack Coyne. Shallow entry into the corner, drifted up the racetrack in the middle, came shallow on corner exit so he could draw alongside Gary on the inside, and he may just do the same thing to Daniel Falkingham here. Logan Clampett to the inside for the race lead, working lap 84 of 117 laps to go, and the Saddleback Community College driver out of Trabuco Canyon, California, is back in front of the field as we close in on the checkered flag at Dover.
Absolutely just such a veteran to the iRacing platform and a veteran to anything eNASCAR. A little bit of lap traffic up ahead, but hopefully these lap traffic cars will be able to get out of the way quickly as possible, because here comes the Logan Clampett out of turn number 2, really now starting to separate himself from the rest of the field by over 2 to 3 car lengths as they head off into 3.
A late yellow, I think, is the only thing that saves this field now. Clampett is gone, and he is faster than everybody else in this field. Even Daniel Buttafuoco, who's made his way up to 3rd, is already a 10th off the pace of Clampett in the clean air, and everybody else in this top 5 already 2 to 3 tenths off the pace of Logan Clampett per lap. You see Daniel Buttafuoco trying to work around Daniel Falkingham, trying to find a way to the inside, trying to make the same good use of the fresh tires and maybe have a chance to run down Logan Clampett, but he needs the clean air. He's got to find a way to get around Falkingham to have a shot at the win.
Yeah, he's going to have to get around the 54, and he's got to do it now. Time's running out on you. Setting up an exit, a good exit right here off of 2, down the back stretch. Going to be able to put a nose there on the 54. You see he's focused, got the eye of the tiger going on there, gets the pass clean and clear. Now we see if he could bring that 44 to him. It's tough. 13 to go. This is tough. I think you're taking the 44 here.
So here we go. 13 laps for Buttafuoco in the number 13 machine to try and run down Logan Clampett. This is your battle for the race win in round 2 of the 2023 eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NACE Starleague. Last time by, Clampett ran a 41 to Buttafuoco's 24.50. Clampett was up a 10th. Lap traffic here will get in the way. It won't slow Clampett down. Does it affect Buttafuoco? We'll see what happens when they get to turn 3, but Buttafuoco will drop low. And so now, good look here at the faces. Buttafuoco, Clampett, dead silent. Lots of monitoring of all the telemetry and data that they have available to them in their rigs, but it is these two head-to-head for the race win at Dover.
Last time by, it was a 53 for Logan Clampett, a 59 for Daniel Buttafuoco. This is now pretty much almost running similar lap times, but we're seeing Clampett now with those tires really taking a little bit better care. Buttafuoco, he's trying to put the hammer down and try to make up time here, but with this, it is causing him to burn up his equipment very fast. Last time by, though, he was a little bit faster, a 67 for Buttafuoco, a 71 for Logan Clampett, so he's got to be careful. Look at the run you see Buttafuoco get off turn 2.
Buttafuoco was up by a 10th. The gap currently sits at 6/10 of a second, so he will need approximately a 10th per lap in order to reel this back in. At the stripe this time by 77 to a 75. Buttafuoco faster, but only by 2 100ths. That, Terry Radford, is not enough to make this pass within the next 9 laps. He needs more than 2 100ths a lap to have any shot at getting Logan Clampett.
Yeah, that ain't going to butter the toast. You got to get up there. You got to put qualifying laps down. You got to kind of sink down a little bit in that seat. Just man that thing. Put them elbows out. Drive the wheels off of this Xfinity car. These things are one of the funnest cars to drive on the iRacing platform because it just allows you to be a driver. It allows you to work really hard to get it done. Daniel Buttafuoco wants to win this race. That lap car above him, that's all the way up there in turns 3 and 4. Has to kind of help him out. It's going to need to slow the 44 Clampett up. Buttafuoco on that 13 machine is going to have to get up there and put a good qualifying lap down for 7 to go.
85 to an 87. Clampett 2 100ths faster that last time by. The other thing I'm noticing, Taylor Burris, as we get down to it in this race, the diamonding, that line that we talked about from Logan Clampett. Not only is Daniel Buttafuoco also using that line, but his line, I think, is even more pronounced. He's swinging almost a whole lane up in the center of the corner to try and get a low entry on corner exit. I don't know whether or not it's helping or hurting him that last time by. 1/10 faster was Buttafuoco, 92 to a 25.0 flat for Clampett. 6 laps to go at Dover.
And with 10 to go, he was about 7/10 of a second back. Now he's picked up about a tenth, and now he's 6/10 of a second and trying to close the gap here. Really getting a good run off turn number 4 right here, as he's now about 3 car lengths back as they come across the line. Last time by, a 24.9 for Logan Clampett. Meanwhile, for Buttafuoco, a 24.95. So they're running almost similar lap times still. The problem is that can't be the case for Buttafuoco. He needs to be a tenth, 2 tenths faster, but it's so difficult now since the tires are starting to fail a little bit here as this run progresses. 5 to go as we see coming to the line.
Even if these lap times are even, that's advantage Clampett, no question. And the last time by, it was a 25.0 to a 24.9, a full tenth that Clampett was able to pick up on Buttafuoco. The lead now back out to 7/10 of a second and growing ever so slightly as we hit 4 laps to go. We may be down to the point to Ranford where a yellow flag is the only thing that might save Buttafuoco or anyone else in this field.
Yeah, I think right now if you're that 13 machine, you probably know you're not going to win the race. That ship has sailed. So now kind of what you need to do is like, okay, I'm in second. Let's ride consistent here. If a caution comes out, fantastic. We're even playing field. We'll all come down to pit, take 4 fresh tires, and it's mano y mano. But if it doesn't, don't tear your stuff up. This track is so easy to slip and make a mistake and catch that wall off before. We've seen it all night. Don't be the one to bring out the caution. Hope for somebody else to do it, but you don't do it.
25.0s for both drivers. It is a yellow now or a major mistake from Logan Clampett. It's the only thing now that will make the difference, Taylor Burris.
It really is as they work down the back straight. A couple of drivers trying to jockey for position a little further back. That's the 18 of Zwack and Manny battling for the final step of the top 5 here as they come out of turn number 4. White flag.
Logan Clampett with 2 corners to go. Nanny makes the pass there and makes it happen and moves up into the 5th position. But all eyes on Logan Clampett and all eyes also on Francisco Villarreal, who currently is the last driver in the top 10. You see the smile on Clampett's face. The drive through the field and the tire strategy pays off, and Logan Clampett goes back-to-back in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NACE Starleague and wins the 2nd race of the season at Dover Motor Speedway over Daniel Buttafuoco and Daniel Falkingham, the Trabuco Canyon, California driver from Saddleback College, 2 for 2 in 2023 so far.
That's how you win one right there. Just put on a smoke show coming through the field as you see a little kerfluffle back there trying to fight it out for the 22nd and 23rd position as we look at our full field rundown.
Clampett wins, and Clampett will take home the largest share of the scholarship money. He will walk away this evening with $3,500 in tuition money to his name. Buttafuoco finishes 2nd. He'll pick up $2,500. 3rd tonight was Daniel Falkingham. He picks up $2,000. We'll hear from those 3 drivers momentarily. Garrett Lowe finished 4th this evening, and 5th went to Daniel Manny. Great rebound for him after being involved in some of the mid-race incidents. Matthew Zwack out of Michigan comes home 6th. Nicholas Short was 7th this evening. Palm Beach State College's Tyler Gary was 8th. Kansas's Will Norton was 9th. And the last driver to pick up scholarship money, $250 this evening, to Francisco Villarreal of the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley.
You go back there to P11, you have Noel Farrar. You have Reese Bayham from Auburn University, Alex Kalonix in 13, Charles Wembley back there in 14th, Matthew Morton with the off-canted strategy there for the Ohio State University with James Soley, Cody Reed, Jack Coyne, Garrett Vitton, and Tate Lytle rounds out your top 20.
Moving on as we go a little further back in 21st, Mario Miranda from Oklahoma will come home in 21st. John Forbes, 22nd. Cy Bowen, Ryan Wilson, Brandon Pipgrass, Andrew Powell, Anthony Chorbach, Colton Salick, Michael Causey, and Dustin Buck round out your top 30.
Final 5 drivers: Jake Cummings from Wingate University, 31st. Matthew Burton from Eastern Tennessee was 32nd. Ricky Springer from UNOH, 33rd. Austin Farr from Liberty, 34th. And the final driver in tonight's field, Nate Stewart from Hopkinsville Community College in 35th. To Terry Radford, who is now with our back-to-back winner, Mr. Logan Clampett.
Logan Clampett, 2 for 2. Not as good as 4 for 4, like I say for Wendy's. Are you going to run all 4? Can you win all 4?
Definitely going to try and run all 4. Going to try and win all 4, but man, dude, we got Daytona the last race on the schedule, so that's anyone's race. So I wouldn't really bet on that. Hopefully we can kind of get out of there with top 5, top 10. That would be really cool. But we'll just have to see.
So, question. So obviously, everybody stayed out. Some pitted with you. The nerves that went through your head. We kind of went on an onboard shot and saw you go, I got to drive through this field. How hard? How easy was it?
Well, I was wishing more people would pit for sure. And I did have a lap car in front of me on that first restart after I did pit, which made me a little stressed. But I was just hoping it would stay green, which thankfully it did after that last caution, because it was just kind of just caution after caution after caution, and I thought I made the wrong decision. But we went 20 some laps on the tires, I felt like, and the right sides were pretty worn out. And I feel like if I were to pit right now, this would probably be the last time. And thankfully I did, and it went green. And at that point, you just got to try and cleanly get around the people and try and not let Buttafuoco go around me.
Well, Logan Clampett, congratulations on your win. Saddleback College's own. We'll pass it over to Taylor Burris to talk to P2 and Daniel Buttafuoco.
Here with Daniel Buttafuoco coming home in P2 for the Rutgers. A great run, home track a little bit for you for New Jersey. Walk us through some of the things that you were trying to do. We saw you take a little bit of a different line to try to make up time on Logan Clampett, but unfortunately, by the looks of it, just running out of time. Your thoughts on tonight's race for you?
Yeah, another good race, another P2. Once again to Clampett, but we had a pretty solid race. Just had to really make sure that we qualified well, which we did, and then just keep up front. And for a while, I felt like trying to diamond it more, try to be more middle to where you had the left sides a little bit below the seam, but kind of on it would help a rotation, and it seemed to work all right there. That last run, I just overdrove entry. That's all it was. I was so I wanted to see if I could get close to him and close in on him, but I just overdrove entry, so I just murdered my right front tire there at the end, so I just didn't have anything the last 5 laps. But all in all, a good race, good way to represent Rutgers. Another solid second place for them. Just hopefully we could do one better at Michigan next time out, but can't be that disappointed. Still ran a pretty good race after being kind of mired in 4th the whole race, so I'm happy.
One quick point to bring out, of course, when you were trying to work your way through following Clampett and, of course, having to be held up by some of the drivers who decided to stay out, was there any frustration trying to get through? Because could have that been the determining factor that kept you from not winning this race?
There was frustration with myself more so, because I actually thought when we had that first yell after we pit, with it being single file, I thought, oh man, I kind of screwed the strategy up, because I thought, I don't know, I was very conflicted with whether I wanted to pit or not, because I noticed our times starting off on old tires, and they were 3-4 tenths slower than what you would be on fresh tires. And part of me is if the run keeps going, if we have a long enough run, we could get through those guys. But then when we had yells, I'm like, all right, just better hope there's a green flag. I know we did. And I told Clampett, I'm just going to follow you. Just not try to do anything silly, just follow you through I can't speak. Try to follow him through to the front, and we did that pretty well. So, all in all, I was a little frustrated, more so myself, but getting around to the other car competitors, it was, you just had to be patient on the throttle, and that was all it took. Just don't get too upset. Just take them off one by one, and that's all you had to do.
We will see you at the next race at Michigan in about a month's time, but that is Daniel Buttafuoco from Rutgers coming home P2 as Terry Radford is caught up with Daniel Falkingham and all of his diecast background. We'll go ahead and let the two go at it.
Well, Dan, you stayed out 62 laps on those tires, and you still managed to get a P3. How hard did you have to drive that thing?
Yeah, I gave her everything I got. I thought I was sitting pretty because we all kept wrecking through the middle part of the race, and I was hoping we were going to keep doing that there at the near the end of it. But they went green for that final run, and that's all I had. I had nothing for Clem, had nothing for Dan. But thankfully, I tried to take care of my stuff while Gilo was behind me because I knew those guys would come on freshies, trying to save up and try to run as hard as I could when they eventually did get to me. But yeah, I gave her all I did, but thankfully, at the end of the day, we still got P3, still got a podium, and we still got some good money out of it. But I was glad I was able to hang on to P3 because I thought a lot more than fresh tire guys were going to come through there. But definitely proud I could hang on. Probably the best overall race I've ran so far, and proud to do it with Yume Machas on the hood and do it with Joki's Racing Interstate Batteries. Got to thank all of them.
Well, I would have to think, and I'd have to imagine, if a caution would have came out with about 10 or 15 laps to go, you would have came into pit, and you kind of would have put yourself in a really good position to drive up there and have a shot at the win. But looking at the races forward, obviously we go to Michigan and then we go to Daytona, two sort of similar but different racetracks. Where do you see yourself positioning in the final 2 weeks of the series?
Yeah, Michigan seems to be a pretty good track to me, and Daytona, well, it's his own beast. Let's write the script there, but yeah, Daytona, I think that'll be a lot of fun. It's just all about putting yourself in the right position at Daytona with us being a huge pack. Very interested to see how that race is going to go because I know they ran the trucks at Daytona. We'll run the B car, obviously, but I think these next two tracks should be pretty good, and hopefully we can start building on that total. But yeah, should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Daniel Falkenkamp, congratulations on P3. We look forward to seeing you at the next race at Michigan. Congrats on the Coke Series ride. And James Pike, we'll kick it back up to you.
Almost time to say goodnight, but before we do, a reminder that the next race in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NACE Starleague will come your way from Michigan International Speedway 1 month exactly from tonight, Tuesday, March 21st at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You will see us for the third round of 4 in the spring semester for the eNASCAR College iRacing Series. For all of our partners at eNASCAR, for everyone at NACE Starleague, Logitech G, all the partners of the eNASCAR College iRacing Series, for our director, Drew Adamson, our team behind the scenes at iRacing, making it all possible, and for my colleagues in the booth, Terry Branford and Taylor Burris, I am James Pike. Thank you so much for watching iRacing's coverage of the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NACE Starleague from the virtual Dover Motor Speedway, and we look forward to seeing you next month, March 21st, Tuesday night from Michigan International Speedway for round number 3 of the spring semester in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NACE Starleague.